Okay, it's Monday. Welcome to Stoney and Jamarr Conversations with Stoney and Jamarr. Welcome, 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 everyone. How are you today? Happy Monday.
I'm good. I feel blessed. I'm up.
Ah, it's beautiful outside.
It's cold.
I was just going to say that next. I am so lucky that I'm warm inside.
Yes.
Ah, I got 8 hours of sleep.
I don't know what that feels like. I haven't had
Ah,
8 hours sleep in years.
oh, it felt like heaven, even though it was a little bit interrupted, but it felt like heaven. It's something that I prayed for many years ago.
Okay.
So I'm excited. So the thought for today, we're going to begin the thought for today. And it spells out the word Monday. So check this out. Maybe this day is not one of your favorites, but never forget that every day you wake up is an amazing gift, as it is up to you to make it count.
I have
And
to
that's
agree
felt
with that.
Monday. Yes. So we're gonna start that was the word Monday. So I know I smelled stuff all over me. Oh,
Uh,
just a messy Monday for me, but it's okay. Um, but anyway, I'm true and authentic. Just being me. I just want to say, how was your weekend? Did you have a great weekend?
it was a blessed. I don't do much. So if I
Okay.
could I just chill out in the house, watch some football,
Mm-hmm.
get some rest, and everything is good.
Okay. Well, a lot has happened over the weekend. I think we're gonna kind of start with Jasmine Crockett.
Yeah.
Um, she's what eight points ahead of the what is his name? Talarico. Is that his name?
Yes, in the Democratic primary, yes.
Yes. How do you feel about her possibly winning this Democratic upcoming election?
I like Jasmine Crockett. Um I like her snap, right? She doesn't back down. She's straightforward. What I would like to see and hear is more of her agenda, her politics, her policies, and a little less of uh, the gimmicks, the TikTok videos. Because I think it's a way to reach the youth. But I think the youth is intelligent enough at this point now to be able to move away from that,
Hmm.
focus more on your agenda, your policies, and your politics. But I like Jasmine Crockett. Absolutely.
So you think she's reaching more to the younger crowd?
I think a lot of politicians these days are going that route, but they have to be careful that you don't lose the older generation, right? Sometimes the older generation don't want to see a lot of "they're not like us" videos. They want to know, hey, what type of moves are you planning on making? What are your policies? What exactly is your agenda? So you got to have some balance. And I think, I see based on what I've been looking on the internet, though, is that we might have another Kamala Harris situation.
Oh,
Yeah,
with Jasmine?
yeah, yeah. It's this thing about a black woman, and they're beginning to use these little attacks on her stance on Israel, which is pretty much the same way they played with Kamala Harris, her
Mhm.
stance on Israel. So that's the route that they're trying to attack Jasmine Crockett on. But I think if she focuses on the people,
Mhm.
I think she has a very good chance.
Well, I'm going to say this. I am a big admirer of Jasmine Crockett and um, her tenacity and her strength and what she stands for in the democracy and for the American people. I will say this, as I always say, as above, so below. And I'll dip back into that Kamala Harris and why she didn't win, astrologically speaking. And I know some people don't like to hear me talk about that, but it's so true, and I'll make sense of it. But Jasmine Crockett will win. She will be um, the next. that she will sit in that Senate seat as we dip out of Pisces, as this era moves out. We're in this last momentum of Neptune, and people are delusional, people in their way of thinking. We move into Aries, which is Jasmine Crockett's sun sign. The universe will align and the stars will shine on her. Nothing can touch her. She will be graced by the universe to sit in that seat and speak for the American people. And as things progress and move into that narrative around April and May of next year, we, the people, meaning the American people, will stand bold and come together because it will be a new era, a new wave of energy, and people will start to speak and stand in unison together and stand up for their rights. So, as we begin to leave the old behind, people don't see it now, but the energy is, it's fading. It will fade. It seems strong and like it's, you can see how it's the Legos with Donald Trump and all of that is kind of like falling apart. People are tired. So someone like Jasmine is much needed. Yes, they may ask her to tone it down just a little bit, but the stars are definitely aligning for her to speak for and be the leader. She's an I am, she's a number one. She is, she's a leader. And that's what the world needs. So I don't see anybody else. I don't see, even if they cheat, even if they try, it just won't happen. Now, what you said about Kamala Harris, when that happened with her, the stars were not aligned. There were some shadows in place in the sky with her being a Gemini ascendant. It was just it was just not happening for her. Now, if Kamala tries again, possibly with things moving the way they're moving in 2026 and 2027, she just may have a shot. I don't know. It looks like she could have a stronger position because the stars are aligned. But we don't realize that things don't happen for us. People don't see us in a certain light because it's not that time yet. You can work really hard. You can write really hard. You can keep raising your hand. Hey, 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 it's me, it's me. But if it's not aligned for you yet, it just won't happen. So for Jasmine, I'm going to say with confidence, she will get that seat no matter what they try and do. The universe is going to shine upon her and it shall happen. That's my
Okay.
take on it.
Okay.
I don't care what they try to do. They can cheat. They can bad talk her. Um, if you knew what I knew, what was happening in April of next year, and yeah, she's definitely, she could run for the president of the United States and win. That's how powerful the stars are
Really?
aligning. Yes, that's how powerful with Neptune and Saturn going into her sun sign. That this is an epic, would be an epic time for her career, for her life, for everything that she's put into whatever. It's anything that she asked the universe for, as long as she has done good by people and her intentions have been good, the universe is going to say, yes, my child, you can have it. And nobody can stop it. I'm sorry. So if
Okay.
you're hating on Jasmine Crockett, you might as well go sit down because the universe has already said yes.
Let's
That,
hope so.
oh yeah. We'll have this conversation in April and we'll go back and
Okay.
see. Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
We'll come back to it.
Yeah, we'll come back to it. But that's me going off into one of those spiritual, what I know, other thing moments, because I look at things in other ways. Getting kind of, excuse me, getting off topic, but she's definitely gonna win. And it looks crazy. And with Kamala Harris, I know it sucked. And everybody's looking like, I see these memes or these what do you call those posts where they have Michelle Obama saying that the world isn't ready for a woman leader, and
Hmm.
she's absolutely correct. Even I believe if the stars were aligned for Kamala Harris, which they weren't, the world isn't ready for a woman leader.
I agree. I agree with that.
Yeah. Whether she's, no matter what ethnicity she is, no, it's not ready for it.
I totally agree with that. I don't know why, but I do agree that the world is not ready for that. I
Mm-mm.
don't know why.
We haven't even gotten past all of all of the brown stuff yet. And imagine trying to handle the brown and the woman stuff. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, it would be sickening.
that's what we probably need to get past the brown stuff.
Oh, is a woman.
Maybe.
Oh, that's an ouch. I felt like I just hit my knee.
Hmm.
I don't even know if I don't even know if I'm ready for a woman. And
I
I'm a
don't. I
woman.
don't. Well, what? I mean, I don't see the negative in it. Like, what exactly would a woman being the president of the United States, the leader of the free world? I don't see what the issue is. I don't see people try to make these comparisons or women are too emotional or women. We all have emotions. We all have feelings. Actually, men, if I had to say, are much more emotional than women. A lot of actions that men take are based off of emotions. A lot of
Mm,
it's
really?
not. Um, so you got if you're being emotional, then you're being reactive, and a lot of things that men do are reactive. If you're being intellectual, then you're moving off of intellect. So you're being responsive, right?
Hmm.
You want to stay at a responsive place. You want to be responsive. That means whatever you do, whatever anybody does, before I move, I sit back and I think about it, right? I
Hmm.
analyze it. I'm intellectual. But a lot of things that men do are reactive. Well, the president we have right now, he's reactive. Everything is based off emotion. He stays within his feelings. And a
Hmm.
lot of men, you have, when you look at a lot of things men do, they off their wives for cheating. They, a lot of these murders that's going on, these are reactive men. These are emotional men.
Yeah.
A
Wow.
lot of things you see are so I don't get this whole thing about not being ready for a woman president or
I think I was looking at it, say for like me, for a long time, I've always worked for men, and it's easier for me to relate to and work for a man than it is for me to work for a woman. So it's just been for the last 10 years that I've worked for women. And I have found that that has been the hardest to to relate to. It's easier to, I don't know, to be in leadership, to have a man, I don't know, in leadership than it is to have a woman in leadership, in my perspective. And I could just be wrong from that. But I've learned to conform to it and not think of it that way. But for years, I've always worked for a guy, and it has always been easier to come in. How are you? Be detached, sit in my cubicle, do my work. Um, not, have any emotional attachment. You understand what I'm saying? But
gotcha.
women look at you, oh, your hair is braided, your nails are done. Who are you dating? What are you doing? You don't deserve an extra dollar. But that man thinks that I deserve to have that promotion. He thinks I deserve to have that leadership role. He thinks I deserve to have more. So he's going to give me more.
Mm.
That has always been my experience in the workforce. So I've always enjoyed working for men, and these and this has been just and this has been Caucasian men. This has been like my experience with Caucasian supervisors. Like all of my expertise, I've learned things from Caucasian males. And when I've worked for them, they have always been very like seeing that leadership role in me, giving me what I deserve. You know, you deserve this bigger office. You deserve this extra $2 an hour. You deserve to go to that class. Hey, I'm going to put you in this position to get that position. No strings attached. But as soon as I got with a either Caucasian female, it was a clash, an issue, a problem. You don't do this. You don't articulate that. This is a problem. You're only getting 50 cents on this review versus my other reviews. I would get this. So there's an issue when there is a woman in leadership.
Mm.
I'm just saying from my experience, especially woman to woman. And that's me. I've worked in corporate America for many years. And I mean and I'm not talking just I'm talking corporate Americas. I'm talking about the people that make sure you build your houses. Corporate America. I worked in that type of corporate office. And so I didn't have to step on anybody's toes or anything like that. So when those supervisors changed and I ended up being in those positions, I had issues with those women. And the same thing when I came to throw newspapers. I had issues with those women for no reason. And I don't understand. I'm just a woman.
Mm-hmm.
So women have problems in leadership. I don't care because they lead other women with their emotions. They don't lead other men. I've noticed how women in leadership lead you guys with their leadership. They don't handle you men the same way they handle us women.
Mm.
They don't. I don't know why.
Uh, Now I could actually say the opposite. Like I've never had an issue with women in leadership. Um, I've never really had an issue with men in leadership.
Mm.
Uh, it's uh, it's my opinion that it's always about you. How open? No, not you per se, but as an individual, right? Maybe it's how you're viewing it, or the individual is viewing it.
I like
Are
how
you
you
open?
said that though. That's why I said, ah,
Right.
I
Or
like how you
are
said
you
that.
open to information, or are you just becoming offended? Right. If somebody say, hey, why don't you try it this way? Are you becoming offended because, hey, my supervisor before you didn't have a problem with the way I'm doing it? Now you come along and you want me to change the way I'm doing things and you get offended. So you automatically are pushing back. You're offended.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not taking the time out to think, dang, maybe let me try it this way. Maybe they're
Mm-hmm.
showing me a new way of doing things. So I've always taken that stance. I've always been open to information, open to becoming better. So
Right.
anybody, a man, a woman, or a child, if they can give me information to become better, I'll take it. I'll try it. Right. I don't get offended by it. Uh, but again, I've heard that from other women that they, you hear it all the time. You hear women say, I don't have a lot of women friends because of this, and this, or, I don't like being under women in leadership because they treat me this, and this. I can't speak to something I've never experienced. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Well, I don't have a lot of friends, period, because I have the same about 7 friends I had since I was in kindergarten, and because
I
I'm
don't
so
either.
real, I speak my mind. A lot of people be like, "Whoa, I can't believe you just said that." So I don't know. So if you become my friend, you gotta be like, okay, I don't know what Stoney's gonna say today. I speak from my heart, so a lot of people can't really handle that because I'm one of those people. Like, if I feel some type of way, I'm gonna check you, and if so people be like, I don't know about that.
Right.
But
Yeah.
no, I keep it 100. So my circle is small because I don't change who I am to fit everybody. And people who have a lot of friends have to be that a different version to be a different person to all of those people. So I'm not trying to be a different person for everybody to like me. You either like me or you don't. I'm
All right. I
goofy.
feel you.
Right. So
Yeah,
that's
I
that's
feel
where
you
I'm
on
at.
that. Yeah,
Right.
I don't have a
So
lot of friends either.
yeah, but I'm cool. So I work in a high vibration, and a lot of people who don't work in a high vibration can't really seem to get with the frequency. So they just be like, it's okay,
Right.
and I'm cool with that. And so I love being in my bubble. Now, moving on to other things. Brown University
Mm,
over the weekend, they had the shooting. So I guess this guy, of course, as you can see, wasn't working in his high vibration. It happened around 4 p.m. quietly. So imagine being in class, you got your thinking cap on, teacher saying, phones off, pencils down, quiet. You thinking only about what you studied about over the weekend.
right.
Your mind is focused about whatever it is you and the professor has talked about over the semester. And you just want to get it in for the break is the winter break. And the next thing you hear is pew 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 pew. Two people are dead, 9 people are injured,
Hmm.
and they do not have a suspect. Now, the suspect, the 24-year-old that they did have in custody, they let go because they said the person of he wasn't the person, but they're saying that they do have another suspect of interest, but they haven't released his name yet.
Mm.
Now we all know that they gotta be, because if it was Jaquan from down over there at Mechanicsville, we all would have knew by now.
Yeah, that seems to be that seems to be the regular. Well, yeah, I seen that. I mean, it's becoming such a normal occurrence in the United States of these university shootings, school shootings. Uh, they're not being addressed properly, right?
But why we can't
And
know who it is beforehand? Why you gotta protect him? But if it was Jaquan, even if you thought it was Jaquan,
they would have
you
already
gonna
told
tell
them,
us that it was him.
say, well, that's that's how it goes. But we are. It's almost as we know already because that we know who fits the mo. We know who gets angry, gets a gun, and wants to go shoot multiple people. So it's not as much as we gotta play a guessing game. We already know who fits the mo. Um, I would just wish that that particular community would address it the way that they address the so-called black on black crime. I wish they would just address it the same way they address black on black crime. What's going on in their homes where they keep producing school shooters, mass shooters? Like, what is going on? Right,
Right. To produce these maniacs.
right. What's going on in your homes? Because according to it appears that those particular people, they know how to fix the black community. They know how to tell us what we need to do.
Right.
They're all over YouTube, Instagram, letting us know, hey, you need more fathers in the house. Well, you guys have fathers and mothers in the house, but you keep
And you got
producing.
more mass shooters because hold on.
Exactly.
You had 75 school shootings this year, 391 mass shootings this year, 13,929 shootings, deaths nationwide, and they weren't caused by our kids at all.
Right.
Mhm.
but they'll tell us about Chicago and Philadelphia and Memphis. And, so maybe Donald Trump needs to send a National Guard to college campuses, to make sure all the kids is safe.
Maybe he
But,
should send them to the suburban neighborhoods. That would be nice.
you know, yeah, that's a sad situation. You get tired of seeing these things where these kids just want to go to school, get their education, and so yeah.
So the head coach Stephen Kerr of Golden State Warriors, he spoke out on Sunday to his team. He said, "It is on us to decide if we actually want to take action as a country or as citizen in regards to this gun control. What do we do about this gun control, this gun violence? Well, I mean,
Mm,
what are we going to do? Because this is a
that
mental health issue.
is it
We talked about this before when we first started collaborating. We briefly spoke about people having guns that have mental health issues.
right. Yeah, well, that the saying is guns don't kill people, people kill people. I agree with that to an extent, right? Of course, yeah, a gun doesn't just go off. Somebody has to pull the trigger. But at the same time, we have to address gun violence and the gun. Nobody should be walking around with 50 rounds of ammunition for nothing.
Mm.
Who are you hunting? What are you hunting? A predator? You don't need 50 rounds of ammunition. You don't need uh, weapons of really like mass destruction. You have an AR-15. What are you hunting?
Mm.
What are you hunting with that? So, in in this country, first of all, let's start right here.
Okay.
The United States of America is a violent country.
Yes.
It was founded on violence. So we need to just flat out just get honest about that. It's not black people, it's not white people, it's not the country itself is founded on violence. It's a violent society.
Hmm.
The next thing is the guns. People stand on their Second Amendment rights before children, but they say we got to protect the kids from the gays. We got to protect the kids from the LGBTQ community because they're influencing our kids. Yet, I don't see any gay 13, 14, and 15-year-olds killing people. Not too many gays are going to the schools and shooting up the schools. These are heterosexual white men. These are young black males. But you stand on that Second Amendment right and you blame another marginalized community. Don't make sense. So we really need to confront the issue for what it is. It's a violent society, and we need gun regulation. Simple and plain.
I do believe we need to have a gun regulation and gun reform, and that Second Amendment constitutional right needs to be it needs to be reformed. I do believe there needs to be a more. It needs to be heavy on mental issues. I don't care. Just even people who already own guns, it needs to go back, and you need to pre-register if you have a firearm. The laws need to be more strategic in mm, enforcing that people have those gun registered mental health cards and things. Just like these people have to have these emotional support cards to walk around with their dogs, you should have these mental health cards to be able to own a gun. And they need to be every 2 years. You should have had so many hours of mental health counseling, um, some type of training. I mean, I'm not even talking about online. I'm talking about in person, where you're talking to a therapist before you can be able to have the right to carry the gun. And if you fail any of that, you have to turn your gun in to a law enforcement. You have to be mandated to turn your gun in. And you should not be allowed to have more than one weapon.
Mm. Then how do we regulate mental health? Well, how do we decide who's mentally competent to have a firearm and who's not?
That's where everyone should have a mental health evaluation.
Right, but
That's
what
where,
would the diagnosis be? Where would the diagnosis fall? We
because
all
that
get
goes,
angry. We all get angry. We all get depressed. We
mhm,
all right. So there's the DSM-5. That's the diagnostic manual for all mental health disorders. That's what mental health professionals use to diagnose you. So if you go to see a mental health professional, they're gonna listen to what you're saying. They'll go to the DSM-5. That's where they'll find your diagnosis. In that DSM-5, there is a diagnosis for almost anything.
mhm.
If you scratch too much, they have some type of diagnosis for it. So that the mental health thing, I get what you're saying, but that would be very difficult. I agree with the limit of firearms, but
Not really, because I'm not a psychiatrist, so I can't say how to be able to zoom in on to be able to say, okay, that person has a trigger. So I'm going to say, I'm going to use me for an example. I suffer from anxiety. So when I go to the doctor, I go to the doctor every 6 months. So that when I go to the doctor and I check into my primary care physician, which is called PCP, they ask me a series of questions. How are you feeling today? And it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the next question follow that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then the next questions ask that. So by the time I get to the back, she knows if I'm suicidal, homicidal, whatever the case, and if I need to go out in a straitjacket or not, okay?
mm,
Based off those answers, because it adds up to something. I don't know how it determines, but based off her professional training, I'm just answering the questions based on how I'm feeling. Okay, I could have been mad at my husband this morning and be like 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, and all them threes could have been like, "Ma'am, you need to come with us.
right.
you
But what
going
if
over
you
here to
don't?
Wales Star to the ninth floor."
Here's the thing. But what if you don't? Right? So what if you go in there? Okay, so for example, those questions, right?
Okay, yeah,
I can answer those questions how I want to. I could come in there feeling suicidal, homicidal, and say, "Oh, I feel great. I feel great. I feel great. Yeah, man, everything is just perfect." How do you understand what I'm saying?
right.
So to use that criteria, anybody can answer those questions any
Oh,
kind of way they want to.
okay, so let's say this. So yes, so if I answer all those questions, yes, I'm feeling great today. Yes, I'm feeling great today. But then when I get in there, based off her training and my mannerism, she's supposed to know based off my mannerism. Yes, she said that she's feeling great, but I'm noting in her chart that she does not look as if what she said is adding up. So I'm going to recommend that she see a psychiatrist. And that has happened to me. So I'm just being 1,000. I have gone in and I have answered, I'm feeling great. And then she's asked me, how are you doing, Christina? I'm doing wonderful. And then tears have come down my face. And I says, I don't want to talk about it. And she says, well, I think you should talk to someone. I'm not a mental health professional, but I am going to send you over here to talk to someone. And no, I don't own a gun. So I was in no way of harming to harm anyone. Was I trying to harm myself? No. Was I feeling emotional enough? I need to talk to someone? Yes. So there are people out there. It can show. And if you go and see a professional who is doing their job, they can pull it out of you. They can see it. And they know that you do not need a weapon. That you need to be pulled up off the street. It will show. You can't hide it. Crazy is crazy.
So according to all right, so based off my education,
Mm-hmm.
That's how I know about the DSM-5, based off of my studies. Now, I went to a mental therapist after my son was murdered.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I went in there, I got honest because therapy only works if you're honest, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And at the time, I told the therapist I wanted to cause somebody harm. So when
Mm-hmm.
the therapist asked me, "Oh, now look, this goes to what you said about pulling it out of you." She said,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh yeah, I can understand that. I can understand the anger." Her next question to me was, "Have you made a plan?" Now, because of my education, I understood what she was telling me. I understood what she was saying. She was saying because if I told her I made a plan by law, she had to notify the authorities. So I immediately said, "Oh no, I didn't make a plan, but of course I made a plan,
Right.
right?
Right.
Of course I did." And that was my last time going to therapy because I understood that it's not going to work because I can't be honest.
Right.
So when you went in based on your experience, when you broke into tears, yeah, she was able to pull it out of you, but it still is going to have to be a series of questions. And a person can go in and answer those questions the way they want to answer them. If I want to own a firearm and it's based off of this mental assessment,
Mm-hmm.
or I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna work that mental assessment,
Mm-hmm.
they won't be able to pull it out of a person who wants to. But
Got
now a person who's seeking help and you go in, you wanted help that day. So yeah, you marked down, you feeling great, but when you went in there, your tears was a cry for help, and your therapist was able to recognize that based off a conversation. So that it could work. I do believe that people who want to get a firearm should be mentally sound. It's just going to be very hard to make that work. It'd be hard to make it work.
I feel like all of the energy that he is going in to do welfare reform, he should go and use that same energy into doing gun reform and
Right,
take that energy and instead of making everybody reapply for welfare, make everybody reapply for gun license and and make them reapply for the crackdown on the mental health um policies to get and to maintain your gun license.
right.
That's what I
And
think you should do.
when it comes down to guns anyway in this country, we need to be honest, right? If we just get honest about the reason why these people fight so hard for their Second Amendment right, it's the big black boogie monster, right?
What is that?
That's it.
What is that?
They fight for their Second Amendment rights because of the fear of Black America. If I
Uh-huh.
don't have my gun, I can't stop a black person to ask them where you're going. If hey, you live here, what are you doing in this neighborhood? Right? I feel vulnerable without these guns. They need their guns to be able to, it's always been that way,
Right.
right? Remember, black people couldn't even own guns.
That's true.
So it's always been that way. We just be honest about that. Let's just get honest. You need your guns because you fear black people. It's not for hunting. It's not for, hey, it's my Second Amendment right. That's the only amendment you know. So
Wow.
we got to get honest about that first. And this is why the NRA is one of the biggest lobbyists in Washington, right? They're one of the biggest lobbyists. And this is why they stand so hard on their Second Amendment right. And this is why we don't have real gun reform.
Have you seen those new NRA commercials where they talk about if you have a gun to be able to carry your gun to different states and your right to carry a gun, joining the association and all of that? Have you seen those? Um, yeah, they have new commercials.
I don't pay attention to it because I'm a convicted felon.
Right. Well, me too.
And so it doesn't matter to me. That's another thing. How if we're talking about the Second Amendment of rights, you either pro Second Amendment or you're not. If the Second Amendment says everybody can have a firearm, See, I'm pro Second Amendment. I believe that everybody should be able to have a firearm.
Right.
Period. Now, what you do with it, but everybody should own. Everybody should be able to own a gun. Convicted felons.
I feel that after a certain amount of time, if you are a convicted felon and it's not a violent felon and it's been so many years, you should be able to restore that gun right. And a Second Amendment to be able to protect your home should always be in play. You
That's
should
the
always
bottom
be able
line.
to have a gun in your home.
Yes, and I mean, I believe you should be able to protect yourself.
Right.
One of my issues with moving to the South was open carry. The way in the South the gun laws are made, right? Coming from the North to the South, a convicted felon, I'm behind. Like they got to up on me. Everybody has a gun, but I can't own a gun because I have a felony. So my life is in danger. I can't protect my home. I can't protect myself. These people that shoot you in traffic just because they got a gun,
Right.
legal owners.
You might want to do the research on the Second Amendment right as a convicted felon to
I
protect your
did.
home.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, mine
Yeah.
is official. Right? I'm never going. No, no. Unless they change the law, I'll never be legally able to own a firearm,
Even for your home.
even for my home. Now,
Mm.
and it's sad because I'm 52 years old. My last felony conviction was in 2000. So
Oh, that's cool.
we talking about 25 years ago,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
25 years ago, I was in my 20s.
Yes.
My whole life has, I mean, my whole life has changed since then.
A
I've worked,
180.
right. I've worked with the homeless, juveniles, adolescents, right? I've done a lot of good things in that
Yes.
time, but I could never own a firearm. We was talking about that the last show about how people look at convicted felons and automatically go, "Oh, you've been convicted of felon like they're leopards."
Hmm.
Right? But it's a lot of people with convicted felonies. When you really dive into it, we talking when I was in my 20s. You know what I mean? We talk about a whole nother time in my life. In the last, when you talk about reform, you can't argue someone who hasn't had a felony conviction in 25 years that they haven't changed their life.
That's true.
Right? So, but that's where we at in America.
Wow. And it's so sad because, I didn't know until I started talking to you that we were kind of like in the same arena, and it's like the universe kind of like,
Right.
and you'll be surprised who is kind of like you and walking the same journey or have walked the same path as you. So I have freed myself and I'm okay with where I am. And I know that the universe has allowed me to go through what I've gone through and the decisions that I have made, from going from corporate America to the street life to back, to doing this, the thing that I love, what I was supposed to be doing. But I had to go through all of that to be able to do this with confidence and with the sincerity to be able to get my message across to others, and sometimes we don't realize we take the long way home for a reason.
Right.
And when we get there, we like, we did all of that, but it's okay. And I don't care what other people think or how they feel. I hope that they can look at me or us and say, wow, you know, maybe I've done something I shouldn't be ashamed of, and I can stand up and be a voice, help others, and continue to be a pillar in the community, regardless of any mistake or any bad choice that I've made. Because some things aren't mistakes, it's just a bad choice, But we're
Yes.
still good people, and now we're doing good things.
That's it's always about the journey, right? The
Yes,
journey is what gives you your experience. If you don't have any
Yes,
experience to share, you can't help other people,
you
right? So
can.
it's always about the journey. It's not really about like I just don't broadcast it. There's a lot of things I don't broadcast. I work with people for what the last 3.5 years.
Hmm.
Most of them would never know my son was murdered because it's not something that I broadcast. I don't, it's no need for me to broadcast a lot of things. I don't have to, you have some people who their whole image is their past. Yeah, I did this amount of, and I was here. I don't broadcast those things. I'm not living like that anymore. But when the time is right, I share that experience to help others. I talk about that when speaking to people, when you're talking to the youth, when you want to reach the youth that's, maybe out there gangbanging. It's not always about reaching them by talking about your street stories. Yeah, when I was back, it's not always about that because they can see through that. Their mindset is, what are you doing now? We out here living it now. What you did in the past don't matter. So you have to reach them with sincerity, understanding. Look, I know how you feel going through what you're going through, rather than telling them about war stories. You want to try to reach people based off of feelings,
Yes,
not uh your story matches my story. No, I know how you feel. I know what you're going through based off of how you feeling. This is how I got through it, right?
yes,
I could just plant the seed and give you the information. Hopefully you'll stay alive long enough to use it, right? Because we had to stay alive first. And I
yes.
think that's what this is all about. It's about being able to share your experience.
I
If you
agree.
help one person,
You just never
right?
know who's listening and who you are helping.
Right.
I wanted to say that tomorrow, I know that you're going to share with everyone about your show that you have on Pulse 101.3, and shout out to City over at Pulse 101.3, the heartbeat of the community. You're over there on Tuesdays from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. And the name of your show is?
Politics as usual.
Okay. And so tomorrow you'll be there, and everybody needs to download, make sure you download the app so that you can catch Jamar. Politics as
Tomorrow.
usual.
Politics as usual. Tomorrow, I'll encourage people to tune in for tomorrow. I'm gonna talk about law enforcement and policing in America.
Whoa.
It's gonna be a good show for
Okay.
some. If you pro police, you might not like it, but it's gonna be a very intense show. I'm gonna break some things down about the police and law enforcement in America. So yes, 101.3 the post. Heartbeat of the community. Download the app. Politics as usual. 10 to 11.
10 to 11. Will you be live as well, Jamar?
I'm not gonna go live. But
Or
what
you
I
just
am gonna
listen on the
do,
app tomorrow?
yeah, and then
Yeah.
I'm gonna make some clips.
So make sure that you guys download the app. Go in your app store if you got Google, if you got a go in your app store. It's Pulse 101.3. Um, Make sure you download the app tomorrow and catch the show. Going to be great information. And then tomorrow, we'll be talking about insurance on here on the Stony Love Show with JB Barnett. We'll be talking about the subsidies that Americans may not get. And
Mm,
that's what we're going to be talking about as we close today. The enhanced subsidies may lapse for a bunch of Americans. Um, we because Congress, as you know, they're not still agreeing on these Obama subsidies, and the premiums may increase by 114%. So that could be about $1,000, and about 2 million Americans are expected to be uninsured for 2026. So that's going to be a major thing for Americans going into 2026, and not having any health insurance. And as we were just talking about mental health, you need health insurance
mhm.
to make sure that you see about your mental health, to make sure you're up on your medications, your doctor's appointments, and things like that. Do you feel, Jamar, that Congress may come to some medium about these subsidies that were previously intact during COVID? Because you remember during COVID, they extended Medicaid for those that needed them, and the Obama subsidies and things of that nature. Those things are all coming to an end. What do you think? You think we're just
I'm hoping that they can meet in the middle, uh, and stop politicizing this. Like, people are really going to lose their health insurance. A lot of people are not going to be able to afford health insurance, but they're playing political games. I would love to see them lose their benefits, right?
Mhm.
So we don't have, people, Americans lose their benefits, their health care. Government workers, you lose yours too in Congress, because I'm quite sure they have a nice health plan. They have a nice uh, insurance plan. The members of Congress and the members of the Senate, I'm quite sure their whole family is insured. So when we don't have when these Americans lose their insurance, you lose yours, because that's, we in a place where the have and the have nots, right? They
Mhm.
have, so they don't, they can play around with the have nots.
Right.
And it's sad. It really is. I hope they can meet in the middle, whether it be Democrat or Republican. Just make something happen so people, this is America. Everybody, it should be free health care and free education, period.
Well, I do agree with some of this, modification of certain things that Medicaid will and will not pay for, like some of these cosmetic surgeries and things of that nature. However, but the subsidies, people need those subsidies. People that are working and that are in a low income bracket that normally couldn't afford. You got a lot of waitresses who have 3 and 4 kids, make $2.13 an hour, that may not get tips. They need those subsidies to be able to. They may just fall between the line, may not can't get Medicaid, but can afford the Obamacare. They need the subsidies to be able to get to the doctor in case they get sick, to get that flu shot, to get that pneumonia shot, so that they can remain healthy, their blood pressure medicine, their mammogram,
Right.
So these things need to stay in effect so that we can have healthy parents to take care of these children. If not, 2 million Americans without health care, that means we're gonna have at least half of those people probably dropping dead in no time at all because they couldn't get the medication or the things that they need to survive. And that's scary.
Yeah. Well, they don't, like I said, they don't mind playing with other people's lives. In America, between, my parents, your parents, people's grandparents, the amount of taxes that have been paid for those who came before us, white, black, just Americans in general, there should be free health care and free education, period. And feed people. Those shouldn't even be issues in America. Americans, if this is the country that we claim it to be, we shouldn't have a problem with feeding people, people having health care, and educating people. That should never be a problem. The fact that this is even going on is it's a shame. It's a like right now, if you ask me, America is the laughing stock of the world.
Really.
We are an illusion.
I say
So
if you make over under $100,000 a year, you should have free health care. That's my take on it. And you should have a stipend for food, an allotment for food monthly. So $100,000 is not a lot of money,
no,
and so I feel that if you're under that tax bracket, then that's a given. You know, So, with that being said, I think a lot of government reform, a lot of things should be really taken into consideration. This presidential candidate that is in office now, all he has done is got in there and made this whole thing a laughing circus. He has gotten in the office and created war within the on American soil. He within the American people, American soil. He's pissed people off across the world. It's just turmoil in the nation, period, because of this man. And where we go from here, what's next in America, Jamar? I can't tell you.
Yeah. But I always say I don't totally blame Donald Trump. I
Mhm.
just believe that America was America before he got there. All he
I,
did was capitalize off of it.
he did.
That's all. Right? America was what it was when he got there. He just energized the base. If people could move away from this Democrat, Republican, liberal, conservative way of thinking,
Hmm.
right? Because both of them pretty much are the same thing.
Hmm.
Each one of them. The conservatives claim that they want less government, but they're more government.
Yes.
They claim they want to, hey, we just want to live our lives, but they tell everybody else how to live. Both sides tell everybody how to live their life. But as long as we going that way, as long as it stays the way it is, if nothing changes, nothing changes.
Chaos in America. I'm going to leave you with this thought, and I'll see you again on Wednesday. Um, and I want you to have a great show tomorrow.
Thank
And
you.
we'll definitely. So my thought as we end the show today, we may encounter many defeats, but we must never be defeated. So
Like,
until the next time we meet again, my friend, drink your water and mind your business, everyone. And I'll see you on Wednesday, Jamar. Have a great rest of your day.
you too. See you on Wednesday.
Thank you, sir. Bye bye.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.